Your ego is causing you problems and you don't even know it. What's happening is, as you experience reality, so what happens out here in the world, the part that you can see and touch, you translate your experiences into beliefs, into thoughts and ideas and concepts and memories. And those things are not true to form. So you have this inaccurate translation, this processing into mental stuff. And it's creating blind spots in your life. So, you go visit a place, even if you were to visit it as soon as a week later, your memory of the place could be different than the actual experience. And this happens with a lot of things. So if your idea is to have the best life by attuning yourself to reality so that you can be present in the moments like you're experiencing things and you're not delusional, however big or small, that's how you're going to be the most happy. So if that's your goal, you want to try to avoid these blind spots in your life by understanding that this is happening, this inaccurate translation of reality is happening in your brain, okay? And so these blind spots occur, and really what's one of the ways this happens is that your ego will try to take conceptual understanding of an idea, okay, and it will trick you into thinking that you truly understand something, right? So there's a difference between conceptual awareness of an idea and experience through, or understanding through real experience, okay? Conceptual awareness, understanding through experience. So your ego will take the conceptual awareness and it'll say, okay, now I got it. And you notice this in conversations with other people. So let's say you're discussing something with somebody and you want to deliver a nuanced point about whatever topic it is that you're discussing, and you can tell that they don't want to hear it. They'll be like, yeah, I got it, or whatever. And sometimes people skip past those kind of things in conversations for practical reasons. They're just trying to get to wherever the conversation is going. But sometimes this happens because the ego is defending itself. They can't hear what you're about to tell them, okay, at that moment. They don't want to hear it. You know this. It happens all the time in politics and stuff like that, that people will resist taking in that idea to their heart. So what will happen is the ego will either not want to hear the concept at all, or sometimes it'll say, okay, I got the concept, and that equals full understanding. Okay, and what it's doing is defending itself. So let me explain what's going on with that. So your ego, your identity, I'm not talking about your narcissistic qualities or whatever, but your ego as you, the person that you say that you are. So your behavior, your identity, what you believe. It's like a ball of yarn. And in this ball of yarn, there's bazillions of strands. And some strands, when you pull on them, it doesn't do anything. It just, the ball's tight and it doesn't matter if you pull on the strand. Some strands, you pull on them and it unravels the whole thing, particularly religion, politics, stuff like that, stuff that people get really sensitive about. So it's not that these people are super sensitive about these issues. It's that their entire identity are built up around these key beliefs that they have in their heart. And so if you go to pull on that strand, you're going to unravel the whole ball. So most people are not willing to do this to themselves, let alone you enact that in a conversation or whatever. And so this is why debates, always get heated, or they oftentimes do, because you have people trying to defend their ego. Most people don't realize what's going on here, and that their ego is actually a web of a bunch of inaccurate translations of reality. See, if you understand that part, you can be okay with letting your ego be dismantled. And that's hard to do fully, because everybody, wants to experience like the cool parts about ego, like recognition and all this kind of stuff. There's a natural draw to it because we're social creatures. But like if you understand that the ego is not something that is true to form in terms of reality, then it's more okay. But most people, they don't understand that. So when you get into these, discussions with people, it's like you're never going to convert somebody, because for them to accept the part of reality that you're trying to deliver to them that is an objective truth or whatever. And of course, you could be tricking yourself too, but as opposed to that happening, they were going to defend that ego at all costs. And so debate is, largely ineffective for a lot of people that, are not secure in this way. But you see people try to skip past certain things, or what they'll do is they'll take the conceptual awareness and take it as the understanding from, or they'll just kind of assume that, they really got it, right? So that's what you need to do in your life is be on the lookout for these times where, you're going to assume that you understand something, but you haven't achieved that next level understanding, which oftentimes happens through experience. And what I think that's happening there when you go through that is you have the concept in your brain, in your conscious mind or whatever, and through experience, you're training your subconscious to accept that concept as like real truth. That's just my theory on it. It's like, it's in your brain, you think something, and then you go through it and you see how it plays out in the world as truth, and now your subconscious accepts it and you almost feel the truth, if that makes sense. So the egos will defend themselves, and yours will too. And if you doubt that, just start exploring other religions and stuff like that. I mean, that's the perfect way to get a feel for this sensation. And I went through a period of time in my life where, and I just think this is relevant, like, there'd be times where like my dad would try to tell me something, and like I would resist it for whatever reason. I'm young, and he'd say, look, man, I got like 50, 60 years on this earth, and you just need to take my word for it or whatever. And I would think to myself, like, you take the whole timeline of recorded history, and it's like 50 years is just like a little blip on this timeline of all of recorded history of man. And so it's like, man, I could learn about 50 or 60 years in like 2 pages of a history book, So it's like, I really had this idea, like, experience is cool, but it's like, all I got to do is crack open some books and gain like a whole nother level, and obviously you can see how that mindset is flawed. But it's cool in a sense, because not everybody is willing to be so open-minded as to learn about all different kinds of things. People kind of settle in after college or whatever, and that's like the culmination of their learning, But so it's a good attitude to have in a sense, but then you need to be wise enough to be like, okay, like, you got to put learning into practice, and experience trumps learning, book learning in a sense. And you see this this whole thing played out in the world, like the whole, sort of academic versus like real world business guy dynamic. They always criticize each other. Like academic would say, like, maybe like a typical business guy like isn't open-minded enough or whatever, or like a business guy would be like, hey, look, like this academic guy doesn't have enough experience to really know like what's up in the world or whatever. And both are kind of true. But anyway, so I had this attitude, and I think that at least in my case, it wasn't until I was in my 30s where I really started to have enough time to experience things and to really like be able to understand things like at a next level. But you can trick yourself, and this is kind of why I'm talking about this, because like I went through a period of time in my life where like probably like for 2 years straight, all I would do is ingest information and try to understand through logic the world. And I tell you, like, that period of time was like one of the worst period of times of my life, because there's so much, thinking that you understand things, but then going out into the world and it's like still being like bottom rung of the ladder in terms, because it takes experience to get to that next level, to be that next level person in life, and so you can really trick yourself. So you got to put into play anything that you learn. You want to go back out and test it out in the real world, And it's funny that that's how the way things work, because everything can sound like it makes so much sense. You know, when you learn something new, you watch a new video, you read a new book, but if you don't go play it out, all you have, and this is the main point of this video, it's like all you have at that point is conceptual awareness, and your ego will tell you that, you know, that you're a smart dude because you have that, but it's not. That's not what you need. You need, I mean, you want some of that, because if you don't even have that, then you can't even get to over here. So you want that, but don't be so dumb as to think that that is what's up. You know, you want to take that to the next level through experience. So I hope that makes sense. Be aware of that. And again, the whole goal of this is to attune yourself to reality, and to diminish your ego to the point where it's like you can walk into any situation, be yourself, be present, and exchange energy with people, and that's how to be happy and to be effective in the world, you know, whether it's like social life, business life, or whatever. And so I hope you can understand that and appreciate that. And until next time, like the video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.